Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be exposing the hidden agenda of a covert narcissist. Because I know many of you who have been through this, you may struggle to understand or explain what it is that you actually went through. And there may be family or friends that you have that just don't understand what exactly happened. And many of them, they may blame you. They may think that it's something that you've done or that you just don't understand the narcissist. So I'm here for you today to explain what really happened between you and that person and what their agenda was behind their actions. So initially, the covert narcissist acts like they're on your level so that you will open up and share your time, gifts, energy, attention, money, and resources with them. They play the victim so that you will feel bad and help them. They give you lies and future faking, making you believe that at some point you will get something in return. They operate under the radar. They use subtle tactics to exploit you for their own benefit, while maintaining the appearance of innocence or vulnerability. They mirror you to gain your trust. At the beginning, they act like they're on your level. They mirror your values, interests, or struggles. And this creates a false connection and trust, which makes you believe that you finally found someone who truly understands you. But they're actually just doing this to disarm you emotionally, to make you more willing to open up and share your resources. They play on your empathy because they are masters at playing the victim. They will share their exaggerated or fabricated sob stories with you to evoke your sympathy. But this vulnerability is actually just a facade to make you feel responsible for their well-being. And of course, if you are empathic, you may feel compelled to help them, even at your own expense. Because you think that while it may not be reciprocal now, it may be at some point in the future. They make you believe that at some point you're going to get something back in return, as though all of your efforts weren't in vain. They use future faking as a manipulative tool. They make grand promises or insinuate that a brighter future together is just around the corner. So they hint at giving back to you, sharing opportunities or deepening the relationship. But they don't keep these promises. They just use them to keep you invested in the relationship long enough for them to benefit from you further. So while they're manipulating and future faking, they're gradually extracting your resources because now they've got you emotionally hooked. So they begin to subtly take from you your time, energy, finances, and even emotional support. And you may not initially recognize just how much they're draining you, because it's like the boiling frog syndrome. They gradually increase the heat. And so you don't realize that you're being burned alive. And when you go to question them or confront them, they gaslight you, or they rationalize their behavior. They make you feel guilty if you resist giving in to their demands. They put you into the narcissistic fog. They use the power of fear, guilt, and obligation. They imply that they're struggling because of you, or that you're selfish for not giving more. They twist the situation to make you feel like you owe them your help, even when you're already overextending yourself. They use lies and manipulation. They deceive you. They lie about their intentions. They lie about their needs and even their appreciation for your efforts. They will tell you what you want to hear while they are secretly plotting how they're going to gain even more from you. All the while there is little to no reciprocity. Despite all of your giving, they rarely reciprocate anything back to you in a meaningful way. And even if they do give something back, it's calculated. It's designed to keep you invested or to further manipulate you. There is no genuine gratitude or equal exchange. And then once you start to see through them, once you recognize the imbalance, then the covert narcissist may pull away or escalate their victim narrative to regain control. They may subtly devalue you, making you question your worth or overthink whether you've done enough for them. Because all of this manipulation and future faking is really just to hide that they're not on your level and that you shouldn't be giving anything to them, because they will never be able to repay you. They use the manipulation and future faking as a smokescreen to hide their inadequacies and the fact that they are not truly on your level, emotionally, mentally, financially, or otherwise. And they know that if you saw them for who they really are, as someone who is unable or unwilling to reciprocate your generosity, you likely wouldn't invest your time, energy, or resources in them. They act this way out of insecurity and envy. They feel deeply inadequate and insecure. They secretly envy your qualities, talents, or resources because they lack the capacity or willingness to build those traits on their own or to acquire those resources for themselves. And instead of improving themselves, they manipulate you into giving what they can't or won't achieve on their own. They use a false persona to gain access to your life. They gain access to what you have to offer by creating this false persona that seems compatible with your level. They mimic your values. They pretend to share your goals, or they act as though they're equally capable. But this is all just an illusion designed to make you believe that they're worth your investment. They exploit your generosity without repercussions because they know they can't genuinely reciprocate. So they've got to use future faking and other manipulative tactics to delay the inevitable, to delay the moment that you realize the relationship is one-sided by making vague promises about the future, keeping you in a state of hope to prevent you from noticing that they're only taking from you and you're not getting anything back in return. And it's because they fear being exposed. They're terrified of you exposing them as inadequate or unworthy. So their manipulation is a defense mechanism to protect themselves from the shame of being less than. Because they fear that if you recognize that they have nothing meaningful to give back to you, then you're just going to walk away. Because the reality is that they view relationships as transactions. They see you as a source of supply, whether that's emotional support, validation, financial help, or opportunities. From the very beginning, they were never thinking in terms of genuine connection or reciprocity. They were only thinking about what they could extract from you without giving back. They never intended to give anything back to you. And this is why they begin to show a lack of accountability. Even if they know they can't repay you, they're not going to admit it. Never expect to get the truth from a narcissist. You can't just go to them after they've come into your life. They tricked you, robbed you of everything. You can't just go and confront them and expect them to tell you the truth. They're not just going to come out and say, yeah, okay, I manipulated and future faked you just so that I could get everything I wanted from you. They're not going to tell you that. I mean, some narcissists might, if they're very overt, grandiose, if they really believe in their own delusions of being superior, as though you're meant to see it as a privilege to be around them and give to them, then those types of narcissists may just say that. But either way, I mean, that's still a delusion. It's not reality. They don't deserve everything that you have. They're not on your level because our value is determined by what we can give and provide. They don't deserve you because they can't even sustain you at the level that you were at before they initially got involved with you. And that's why typically they won't admit it, and instead they will deflect the blame, make excuses, or shift the narrative to make you feel unreasonable for expected reciprocity. As though you shouldn't expect an equal amount to what you were given out. And this really just avoids accountability for their inability or unwillingness to contribute equally. So they're just avoiding showing up as themselves. And instead, they're trying to show up as you somewhere else now because they're taking more from you than what they're giving. And this is why once you become aware of this, I mean, you really got to stop giving because you're giving to someone who can never reciprocate, regardless of whether it's due to their inability or unwillingness. Either way, it creates a dynamic that only drains you while it enables their behavior. You need to recognize that it's not your responsibility to compensate for another person's lack of growth, effort, or honesty. And that's why once you recognize the imbalance and the manipulation, it is crucial for you to step back, set boundaries, and to protect your resources. Because the more that you just continue to give in to such a dynamic, it's only going to perpetuate their reliance on you and your own feelings of depletion or resentment. So you need to disengage and redirect your time and energy to people who truly value and reciprocate your contributions. Because they're never going to reciprocate anything back to you. They lied about being on your level. And this is why they rarely ever acknowledge or compliment your worth or accomplishments, because they're envious. They want everything that you have. They want to take your life from you. Their envy prevents them from ever acknowledging or genuinely complimenting your worth, accomplishments, or strengths, because they know it in their minds that if they were to praise you, it would highlight the gap between your abilities or success and their own feelings of inadequacy. So that's why they rarely ever acknowledge or genuinely compliment your worth, accomplishments, or strengths, because it would then reveal the contrast between your success or abilities and their feelings of inadequacy. It would cause them to feel inadequate in comparison to you. And that is why their focus is more on diminishing you subtly while attempting to take what they can from you. Because they're envious of what you have. Your talents, accomplishments, lifestyle, all of these things represent everything that they want, but feel they cannot achieve on their own. Their feelings of envy drive their need to exploit you. And this is why they don't want to celebrate your success, because they want to possess it. They're not motivated by collaboration or mutual benefit, because they're not even on your level anyway. So you're not going to benefit from them collaborating with you. And they know that. So they desire to level the playing field through manipulation. Complimenting you feels threatening to them. Acknowledging your worth or achievements would mean admitting their perceived inferiority, which their fragile ego cannot tolerate. So they avoid giving you genuine compliments, or even worse, they're really envious. They might just downplay your successes to make themselves feel better. They may even use backhanded compliments, passive-aggressive comments, or outright silence to deny you the recognition that you deserve. Because they want to undermine your confidence. By refusing to acknowledge your worth, they aim to destabilize your confidence. Because then if they can make you doubt yourself, it makes it easier for them to manipulate you. It ensures that you remain in a position where you are questioning your abilities, which then makes you more reliant on their approval that they rarely ever give to you anyway. They just want to absorb your life and resources for themselves. It's not just that they envy what you have. They're actively seeking to extract it for themselves. They want your time, energy, money, or status because they believe they're entitled to it. And this is why they will even mimic your personality, goals, or lifestyle, hoping that they can take on your identity so that they can feel more valuable or successful. And this is why you will see them copying your mannerisms, talking the way that you talk, using the words that you use, using your arguments back against you, trying to turn you against yourself, because they envy you. They envy your personality, your goals, your lifestyle. And they really just play this long game to drain you, because their ultimate goal is control. So by keeping you emotionally invested and giving, they ensure that you are too drained to focus on yourself. And then that way they can take as much as they can while giving as little as possible in return. And in some extreme cases, they may even try to sabotage you outright so that you can't outshine them or escape their grasp. So all of this envy and manipulation, it stems from their inability to build the kind of life that they see in you. And that's why you really just need to step away from them so that you can reclaim your energy, your accomplishments, and your identity free from their grasp. Because they just want you to keep giving and building them up, even though there's nothing in it for you. Because they're not on your level. They thrive in a one-sided dynamic where you are constantly giving your energy, resources, time, and emotional support, while they take and give little or nothing in return. They don't see relationships as mutual or reciprocal. They view you as a means to an end. And this is why they engage in endless taking without reciprocity. They manipulate you into continually building them up emotionally, socially, or even financially, because they see you as a resource, not an equal partner. And that's why they will gladly let you pour into them, knowing fully well that they have nothing meaningful to give back to you. And yet they will even rationalize this imbalance. They will make it seem like your support is necessary because they're struggling or because they deserve help. When the reality is that they do not deserve anything from you because there is no real benefit for you. They're not on your level and can't contribute equally. They will never acknowledge or appreciate your efforts in a meaningful way. They have no intention of reciprocating or helping you grow. And any promises they make are considered hollow, future faking. It's designed to keep you giving while they continue to take. They're leveraging your strengths for themselves. Covert narcissists like to latch on to people who are capable, resourceful, and giving because they lack those qualities themselves. And instead of working to improve or build their own capabilities, they manipulate you into filling the gaps in their life, which then allows them to benefit from your strengths without them having to do the work. So essentially, they drain you to elevate themselves. They continuously take from you to then gain the energy, resources, or social standing they crave, which comes at the expense of your well-being. But because they're self-absorbed, lacking empathy, and exploitative, they don't care if you feel drained or unfulfilled, as long as they get what they need. And that is why they will thoughtlessly and carelessly keep you hooked through manipulation. They will use tactics like guilt, flattery, and playing the victim to ensure that you stay invested. But no matter how long you wait around, nothing's ever going to get better because they're never going to be on your level. It's never going to happen. Covert narcissists are that way for a reason. They're that way because they lack the drive, self-awareness, or emotional capacity to match your level of effort, integrity, or achievement. So their focus isn't on growth or mutual success. It's on self-preservation and extraction. This is why they avoid accountability or responsibility for their own lives. This is why they resent you for being successful, even as they exploit you. And this is why they use manipulation as a shortcut to get what they want, instead of earning it. Give this video a thumbs up if you're finding it helpful so far. Taking it back to basics in this video, this is a simplistic description of what a covert narcissist is and what they intend to do with you. Covert narcissists steal everything that you have, and then they add it to their false image so that they can then manipulate other people and gain new sources, so that the cycle then starts all over again, and then they play the victim with someone else, just as they would do with you at the beginning, so that you would feel bad for them and help them. And then by the end of it, after they took everything from you, they blamed you, and then they then use that to play the victim with someone else. While simultaneously, they're also using everything they took from you to attract people, to gain validation as well. So covert narcissists are emotional and social thieves. They take what you built, your time, energy, ideas, achievements, and even your personality traits, and they incorporate all of this into their false image. This then allows them to manipulate new people and secure additional sources of validation, attention, or resources. They do this to steal your strengths so that they can then mask their weaknesses, because they lack a solid sense of self. They don't have the internal resources to build authentic confidence or success. So they borrow from you. They absorb your accomplishments, ideas, and even your personality to then create a facade that hides their inadequacies. They may even take credit for your ideas at work, adopt your unique traits as their own, or use your achievements to boost their social status. So they use your value to attract new sources. Once they have extracted everything they can from you, they use this image that they've crafted with pieces of your life to lure in new people. So these new sources of supply see the false persona and they think that the narcissist is as accomplished, kind, capable, or successful as they pretend to be. Just as you may have believed when they initially targeted you. When those are just qualities, traits, or resources that they stole from someone before you. So as an example, they may present themselves as a caring person by recounting the support that you gave them as if it was their own efforts. Because once they've drained you, they then devalue you and discard you. Once you're no longer useful to them, because you've caught on to their tactics or because they drained you, then they move on to new targets. And at this stage, they may even smear you to other people, twisting the narrative to make themselves look like the victim or the hero. And they will typically tell other people, I did everything for them. And they abandoned me, is what they will say. Well, the reality is that they are the ones who drained you dry until you could no longer do anything to support them. Because they weren't reciprocating anything back to you, because they were never really on your level. And all you ever got from them was manipulation, lies, and future faking. But by presenting the qualities that they've stolen from you as their own, they create a halo effect to manipulate others. They create a polished, idealized image that makes it easier for them to manipulate new people. It makes their next victims believe that they're genuine, accomplished, and deserving of adoration or help. So they may use your creative ideas, connections, or generosity as proof of their own capabilities, which then fools others into investing into them. And if they're ever confronted about their manipulative behavior, they will outright deny it or blame you for the fallout to protect their false image and prevent other people from seeing their true nature. So if they stole your idea, they might claim that it was collaborative, that they were working with you to support you, or that you just gave it to them freely. But the reality is that it was not a collaborative effort, and you did not just give it to them freely. Because what is the end result? You're left feeling depleted, emotionally, financially, or socially. You're left feeling invalidated, watching them taking credit for what you've worked for, which can be deeply frustrating. You're left feeling betrayed as a result of their lack of gratitude or acknowledgement. And you're left isolated after they've smeared you or moved on, which then causes you to feel disconnected from other people. And this is why it's very important to not share anything with them. Because they can't steal what they don't know about. And also document your contributions. If they try to take credit for your work, you need to have evidence to back up your efforts, which will help to protect your reputation. And detach from their false image. Recognize that their success or charm is built on lies and manipulation. Do not compare yourself to this image that they project. Covert narcissists are parasites They survive by taking what you have built and passing it off as their own. And then they play the victim again. They blame you, smear you. They make everyone think that you are the problem. And then what happens? You get further abused and gaslit by their flying monkeys. When they've drained you of all they can take from you, or you start seeing through their manipulation, they then play the victim and launch a smear campaign to deflect blame away from themselves and to punish you for no longer serving their needs. They play the victim to elicit sympathy. They tell people they gave you everything and you turned on them. When in reality, you were the one who gave endlessly. And then you finally set boundaries, which they then took as you abandoning them. And then that's what they told other people. But actually, no, you just finally realize that you need to set some limits. You're being drained, you're being depleted. But to protect their false image and punish you, what do? They spread lies, half-truths, or distorted versions of events. They create doubts about your character and isolate you. They exaggerate minor disagreements or completely fabricate stories about your behavior. They deliver these lies in a calm, measured tone, making them seem believable. They might say that you are always so controlling and cruel to you and cruel to them, and that they just couldn't take it anymore. When in reality, they were the ones manipulating and exploiting you. But yeah, I mean, this may cause you to wonder. You've gone through it, and it may have been quite difficult to understand, what exactly happened, because they've like spun it around on you. They've gaslit you, made you believe that it's your fault. And then other people as well, they further gaslight you. And it may just make you wonder, how can they be so foolish to not be able to see that you were the one who was manipulated, deceived, and tricked out of your value until you were no longer able to provide to them, and that they were the ones who were not deserving of you, which is how they couldn't sustain you. You may wonder, why are other people so foolish to not see through their lies? And it really comes back to their charismatic facade, the very thing that they use to fool you and to get you hooked. Because Covert narcissists are skilled at crafting a believable and appealing false image. So to other people, they actually come across as very charming and likable. They know how to present themselves as kind, humble, or victimized, which makes other people feel sympathetic towards them. As you may remember, that's what they did with you. And you felt bad for them. You tried to help them. Because they act like they're victims of circumstance. They tell convincing stories that make them appear innocent or misunderstood, while painting you as the aggressor. And they also mirror and validate other people to make them feel special or understood, which builds trust. So many people just take this surface level behavior at face value. They fail to dig deeper or to question inconsistencies. And just people in general are primed to believe victims. They want to side with a person who appears to be hurt or suffering. Of course, the narcissist plays the victim, and they then elicit sympathy from people, while framing you as the villain, which makes it harder for people to see your side. Covert narcissists are excellent actors. They know how to act distressed, which causes other people to feel compelled to protect them without questioning the full story. And these cognitive biases work against you because the narcissist has likely already planted seeds of doubt about you. So other people are more likely to interpret your actions through that negative lens. While the narcissist has this halo effect. They have this polished image which can make people assume everything about them is good or genuine. People in general, they tend to believe what fits into the narrative that they've already been fed, even if the truth contradicts it. And I mean, many of us, we for a long time, we had a fear of confronting reality. We had a fear of admitting that, yes, the narcissist is a manipulator. Because there's uncomfortable truths that we had to accept, such as that we were deceived and used as pawns, and that the narcissist isn't the kind, trustworthy person we thought they were, and that they did unfairly treat or judge us. So sometimes it's easier just to continue believing their lies, rather than to face the emotional discomfort of realizing that we were manipulated. And some of us, we lacked critical thinking skills. We didn't have the ability or willingness to see through subtle manipulation. We didn't observe the patterns over time. We didn't question inconsistencies in their story. We didn't understand that charm and likability can mask darker intentions. So we didn't look deeper. Or maybe we lacked the emotional intelligence to spot deception. And it's also the same case with other people as well. Is that they may lack the critical thinking skills and emotional intelligence, just as we did with the narcissist. They may have a fear of confronting reality. They may have a fear of accepting that they were deceived and used as pawns, and that the narcissist isn't the kind, trustworthy person that they thought they were. And in fact, they have actually just unfairly treated and judged the true victim. Now, these are very difficult and uncomfortable truths for them to accept. It's much easier for them to just continue believing the narcissist lies, rather than accepting that they themselves were manipulated. Or they may just want to avoid conflict. The narcissist has likely done this to people many times before, and that's how it works so well. They carefully craft lies to discredit you, often long before you even realize what's happening. They use partial truths, they mix real events with lies to make their story more believable. They use strategic timing. They get to people before you can explain your side. And they emotionally manipulate people. They make people feel pity for them and disgust towards you. And so by the time you realize what's happened, their narrative has already taken hold. But either way, I mean, some people just don't want to see the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They may prefer the narcissist version of events because it aligns with their personal biases or self-interest. And maybe they're benefiting from the relationship with the narcissist. Maybe they find comfort in simplicity Well, they prefer a clear good guy or bad guy narrative. So how do you cope with their foolishness? You've got to accept that you can't control other people's perceptions. You can't force people to see the truth if they are unwilling or unable. So instead, focus on people who do understand and value you. And protect your reputation with grace. Don't get drawn into a public battle, because the narcissist will use it against you. Instead, speak your truth calmly and clearly to those who are open to hearing it. And let time reveal the truth, because narcissists show their true colors over time. Their patterns of manipulation and betrayal become more evident as they move on to new targets. So remember to validate yourself. Know your worth even if other people don't immediately see it. Their inability to understand does not diminish your value or the truth of what happened. Your value remains the same. The truth of what happened remains the same. Even if other people don't see it or if they're unable to understand. That does not affect your value or the truth of what happened. So to summarize this video, a covert narcissist initially targets you out of envy and wanting to take what you have for themselves, so that they can then use it to display a fake image and garner admiration elsewhere. When you catch on to it, they devalue you and turn against you. When you refuse to give any more, they smear you and sabotage you. As the initial targeting, the envy and exploitation, covert narcissists are drawn to people they admire and envy, which may be your talents, accomplishments, personality, resources, or social standing. Their goal is to extract what you have, whether it's emotional support, social capital, financial help, or other resources. And they use this to build a false image of success, kindness, or confidence to impress other people. They manipulate and they extract. They mirror your values, they act like they're on your level, they play the victim to manipulate you into opening up and giving. They future fake and make you believe your generosity will lead to a meaningful connection or partnership. Well, the reality is that they're using you as a means to an end, and they are never intended to give back or form a truly reciprocal relationship. And that's why it's only a matter of time until they devalue you. They turn against you. Because you start noticing the imbalance. You start catching on to their lies. You stop giving as freely. And then they start to resent you because they can't tolerate being exposed or losing control over their source of supply. So they devalue you. They treat you with disdain, indifference, or hostility, as this is their way of punishing you for no longer being useful to them. And in extreme cases, they may even smear you and sabotage you. When you set boundaries, refuse to give more, or distance yourself, the narcissist works to ruin your reputation. They spread lies and half-truths. They paint themselves as the victim and you as the villain. Why do they smear you? They do it to maintain their false image, to punish you for leaving or exposing them, to isolate you from other people and prevent you from gaining support. And they also sabotage you. They go out of their way to undermine your personal, professional, or social life to ensure that you're too overwhelmed to counter their lies effectively. So the end goal of all of this is to protect their ego and false persona, to garner admiration and new sources of supply from their fabricated image, and to avoid accountability for their toxic behavior by shifting the blame onto you. And of course, this cycle is why relationships with covert narcissists are so destructive. Because they target people who have genuine value and then they drain them, only to then discard them when they're no longer useful. So once a covert narcissist has taken all they can get, or you left, and then they smeared you and placed financial hooks in you, they're still out there somewhere. After they stole your energy, your time, your money, your possessions, they're out there somewhere displaying all of this stuff to other people. Whether this is in their demeanor, clothes, cars, vacations, they're out there acting like that's something they established on their own, so that they can garner attention and admiration from other people. But in reality, it's all fake because they robbed it from you. And then they left you high and dry. They drained you of all of the resources that they could extract. Whether it was emotional, financial, social, material. And even after they've done that with you, they don't stop. They move on to new sources of supply. With no remorse. They leave you feeling depleted, betrayed, and isolated. And they don't experience any guilt for taking advantage of you. Because they're too busy looking for new people to exploit. They're continuing their cycle of manipulation. And they've taken bits and pieces of you and added it to this false character, to where they're now portraying themselves as someone who is successful, independent, and well put together. So they may buy new clothes, they may show off their new possessions, they may take vacations or engage in behaviors that suggest that they have made it, or that they are living a charming, enviable life. When in fact, what is the truth? The truth is that they are displaying stolen resources and experiences. These things that they are showing off, whether it's their material possessions, cars, houses, clothing, experiences, their vacations, their lifestyle. This has nothing to do with their achievements or their genuine success. These are things that they have taken from you, or that they've manipulated other people to provide to them. So as an example, they may flaunt a vacation that they took using your money. They may wear clothes bought with funds you gave them, or drive a car that they got by using your resources, all while acting as if they achieved these things through their own effort and ability. They've created a carefully curated version of their life, where they're presenting themselves as someone who is thriving, desirable, and successful. And they may even use your hard work, support, or your achievements to prop up this false image. And why do they do it? They create this false persona so that they can garner attention and admiration. Their goal is to present this fabricated lifestyle to other people just because they want to win admiration, attention, and validation. Because they thrive on being seen as special, accomplished, and sought after. The more that they can impress other people with this illusion of success, the more narcissistic supply they can gather. When the reality is that they're not special, they're not accomplished, and they're nothing than anything anyone should be desiring. Because they stole all of that from you. And even what you thought you saw in them when they targeted you, those were just things they stole from someone before you, just as they then did with you. And they use this image to attract people who will admire them. They feed off the validation they get from people. Because these new people do not realize that the persona they see is a carefully constructed facade built on the back of your labor and generosity. But to keep this deception alive, the covert narcissist will downplay, distort, or hide the reality of their situation. They will avoid discussing their past, especially with you. Or they will alter the narrative to make themselves look better, because they want to ensure that no one questions the success they're displaying. So if they're ever questioned about where they got something or how they afforded a luxury, they will just fabricate stories. They will play up their supposed business ventures or achievements to make it seem like they're self-made. After they left you high and dry, after they left you vulnerable, emotionally drained, financially compromised, or socially isolated, while they're now out there flaunting their success, and you're left to pick up the pieces of your life. Because of course, the smear campaign, the lies, the manipulation, all of these things have made it harder for you to rebuild relationships or recover your losses. So you're now struggling to have genuine connections and relationships when you're a genuine person who built real value. And now it's so easy for them. It's improved their reputation. It makes them look good. It's garnered them attention, admiration, and sympathy, but it's all fake. You see how easy it is for someone to just fake themselves, fake their lives, and just get whatever they wanted. Whereas for you as a genuine, real person, being authentic and being very generous towards them, you see how that left you? And that's just it. If you look at Instagram these days and everything's just so fake. The genuine people who actually put in the work, no one even sees them or pays any attention to them. And then you've got all of these fake people showing off their cars, their vacations. You don't know how they got that money. You don't know what they did to people to get there. And that's why they're so miserable. That's why they can't live with themselves. That's why they experience so much anxiety, stress. That's why they're so narcissistic. That's why they will never be happy. Because true fulfillment and accomplishment, that comes from knowing that you did the right thing. You did good. You didn't cheat, deceive, or betray anyone. And you presented yourself authentically. So you deserve the things that you're getting. But with the narcissist, that is all fake. They're deceiving people. Their success that they project is built on lies, manipulation, and stealing from people, particularly you. They did not create or earn the things that they flaunt. They used you. They played on your generosity. They took advantage of your kindness to build a false image. And that's why their success is hollow and fragile. They can only maintain it for as long as they keep finding new sources of supply to fuel it. But without anyone to deceive or manipulate, then their carefully constructed world will eventually collapse. But as for you, after this big person came into your life and tricked and deceived you, of course, you're left feeling betrayed. You feel deceived, especially when you see them flaunting the very things that they took from you. You may also feel isolated. The smear campaign and manipulation may have alienated you from friends, family, or colleagues, leaving you to heal alone. You may also just feel exhausted, where you're now having to recover from the emotional, financial, and social damage that they caused to you, because that takes time and effort. And it's really pathetic when you think about it. I mean, when you think about what all of this was for, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they come into your life acting like they're the same as you, they're on your level. You're a real, genuine person, kind, generous, who works hard, you're disciplined, you put in the work, and you do it because you genuinely want to help people. You want to see them better, and that's how they got in with you, because they played the victim and you felt bad for them. You genuinely just wanted to help people. And they come into it, manipulating you, deceiving you, giving you lies and future faking, robbing you of everything you've got. And for what? Just so they can show off and get the shallow, superficial attention and admiration for something that they're not. How pathetic is that? And how desperate are they just to get that validation, that they will trick you, con you, deceive you, just to try and get people to admire them. I mean, fair enough, if you put in the work, you actually did it, you made it, you earned it, then yeah, let's have a celebration. You deserve the recognition, especially if you did it with the intentions of helping other people. I support that. But with narcissists, it's so shallow and superficial. It's all about the external, the image. It's not about helping anyone. It's just all about themselves, because they're so insecure. They feel inadequate inside. And they're so desperate just to have this image that they will come into your life, not think anything of what they're doing to you, just destroy you, obliterate you. No guilt or remorse. Because all they care about is displaying this false image of themselves. And it gets so bad that they will even take you down and ruin your life. Smear your name to everyone, destroy your reputation. A genuine, good, kind, hard-working, generous person who means well and tries to do the best for people. They will ruin your life, your reputation, your health, your finances. Just because they're so insecure, they feel inadequate. They don't want to put in the work. They're unable, they're incapable. So then they do that to you. They rob from you, ruin your reputation just to protect their false image, so that they can keep getting supply. They can keep getting this admiration from people who are unaware, people who are unsuspecting, just as they did with you at the beginning. That's absolutely pathetic. That's an absolute joke. And they are absolute losers. And it's really sad. It's really pathetic that they're out there somewhere with your energy, the emotions, the generosity they got from you, your kindness. That's built them up. Your money and resources, your possessions, all of these things. And using it to get other people's attention and admiration. Because they're that shallow. They're that insecure about themselves. And essentially it's it's like if they robbed your necklace, and that was something that was your personal taste. It was part of your image, and they robbed it from you. And maybe then they go out one night to a bar, they wear that same necklace, and they're out there getting compliments from people. Everyone's telling them they look great, they got such good taste. And they must have worked so hard to get that. And they're feeling so good about themselves. The love and the compliments, all the praise, the attention. I was like, hold on a minute. That's your personal taste. That's a part of your personal image. And you put in the work. You earn the money to buy that. But they're out there somewhere getting admiration and attention from that. And feeling good about themselves. Or rather, feeling good about their fake image that other people have been fooled into believing is real. And that's how really they just need to keep getting the supply. They need to keep fooling people. That's all that they can do. And it will never be real for them. It will never be genuine. And it gets to a point where it's like, how are they ever going to feel good about anything now? Because even if they go to a certain position now, even if you upgraded them, they stepped on you and they got ahead. This can happen in businesses, and if they got promoted to management, they're still going to feel insecure. They still kind of have a fake image, because what about what they were doing before? They haven't been accountable for that. They haven't been truthful about it. They haven't been disciplined, punished. And that's how I can promise you, I can assure you, there is no peace in their minds. And that's why if you reach back out to them, if they come back into your life, it will be worse. They're miserable, angry people. Absolutely miserable inside. Because deep down they know that they're frauds. They know they don't deserve anything that they have. They know they don't deserve it. And that's how it's so shallow. It's so superficial. It's kind of like when I was younger and I had a Facebook account, and I would post like pictures of myself online when I was younger. I would post topless pictures. And it wasn't really me, it wasn't really something that I enjoyed doing so much. So it was very shallow, it was very superficial. And I was dependent on other people's validation of it, even though it did get me a lot of attention. And also I would post like my father's house and his cars. And that also made me very popular back then. Even though the reality is that wasn't even my work. I didn't earn it. But then, of course, you could argue it's family, it's my father, and back then I was just a child. I mean, so that's kind of normal in some ways, for a child to kind of show off their family's wealth or success as though it's a part of their own. But then also, I wasn't really a part of it, and my family was quite narcissistic, or very narcissistic, I should say, and I felt as though really, I mean, the only way our family could afford these things is because in many ways I was being neglected. Like I talked about before, in a past life video of how I couldn't even go to the store and buy a £2 bar of chocolate. It was too expensive. It had to be £1. Or even if I'm just, after I finish cooking, I'm cleaning the pots with the water, with the hot water from the tap. One time I used too much water, apparently. And then my father hit me in the face. Well, at the same time, we're living in a multi-million-pound home and there's a brand new Mercedes AMG and an Aston Martin DBS in the garage. And then also what was parked in the driveway is my very old broken down car that couldn't even start. That was probably worth just about £5,000, while there's over £250,000 worth of cars, just two cars in the garage. So yeah, that's what I had to go through as a child. But my point is with that, aside from that, that part of the story, is that it didn't really bring me any genuine fulfillment. Flaunting my father's success, his money, his wealth, his cars, his house. Because it's like, what did I do to earn any of that? What did I do to deserve it? And also because I didn't really have access to those things anyway. But then in some ways, I mean, if that's, if you are raised in a wealthy family, you do have certain rights, certain entitlements to your family's wealth and money. Because it's, it's the same whatever social class you are raised in, is that you are entitled to a certain amount. And, that's why, such as in the UK, if you have a child with someone and you're not living with a child, then you have to pay a certain amount to the other parents. You have to pay 12% of your income every year to support that child. And I know for a fact there is no way that my parents were paying 12% of their income every year throughout my life. That never happened. And in fact, I do recall when I was maybe 16 years old, I inherited £10,000 from my neighbour. And then my father took that money and he said that he spent that on taking care of me. And also, again, when I was 19, my father forced me to go to university. And the student loan was about £10,000. And he left me the bill 10 years later after the interest piled up. And now I'm paying that off every month, even though I never wanted to go to university. And on top of that, he didn't even show up to the graduation. So yeah, I was most definitely neglected and starved, even of basic needs as a child. I mean, living in a multi-million-pound home with supercars in the driveway, cars that are worth more than the average home in the UK, and the child can't even get a £2 bar of chocolate, or you get hit in the face for using hot water to clean the kitchen equipment after you just cooked your own food. The food that you bought at a discount price in the shop because you're not allowed to buy anything too expensive. I mean, honestly, the injustices that I faced as a child are unbelievable. I honestly think that most children just in an average home, an average household, they had better treatment than I did. And you got to think, if you were brought up in an affluent family, multi-million pound home, and your father can afford to buy supercars, you should be living a pretty good life. You should have a pretty good childhood. But it seems that mine was worse than even just an average household. And yeah, it's kind of funny because it's like people say, it doesn't matter if you're brought up in a rich family. You should make it on your own. You should provide for yourself. But then it's like, all right, so why is it that if there's a single mother in the UK who's raising a child on her own, she gets 12% of the father's income, regardless of how much he makes. Even if he makes millions every year, she still gets 12% of that. And even more if she has more than one child. So if that's the case, then why is it that millionaire fathers are paying millions to their children? If the children are meant to make it on their own, if they're from a rich family. It's really a double standard there, isn't it? Thank you for the donation, Kim H. I appreciate it. She says, we don't need their validation, but they definitely need ours. Keep your heads up. That's right. That's why they have to manipulate us. They train us to seek their validation. They target your self-esteem. They make you insecure. Because they envy you. They don't acknowledge who you are, your success, your accomplishments, your worth. They downplay it. They ignore it. Or they devalue you. They criticize you. They discredit you. They insult you. Because they're trying to train you to seek their validation when you never needed it. Because that's why they had to target your self-esteem and devalue you, because you never needed it. So don't let them make you doubt yourself. Don't let them make you think that you're insecure or that you have low self-esteem, because you don't. If you did, they wouldn't have had to have done that. But yeah, I know it's sometimes, when you're coming out of that narcissistic fog that they put you in, where you're in this state of fear, obligation, and guilt, and they've caused you to doubt yourself, they've gaslighted you, it can be quite difficult to really understand what just happened to you, what went on, what they did, and why it's wrong. Now, that's why I really wanted to share this message with you today, to make it clear for everyone to understand what they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish with you, their hidden strategy, and also so that you can share this message with other people as well, so that they can understand it too. Because that's the whole point, is that it's covert, it's hidden, they conceal it. So this is me exposing it, bringing it out into the open. So thank you for watching. I hope this video helped you. If it did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe and hit all notifications so that you will be notified when I go live again. Donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate to my PayPal. It's paypal.me/Narc Survivor. If you'd like to book a one-on-one, just go to my website. It's narcsurvivor.co.uk. And you can follow me on Instagram. Today I just posted a reel of a cat who appears to have reached enlightenment. Looks very at peace with himself in this reel that I posted. So you can see that on my Instagram. Follow me. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. Thank you all, and I will talk to you soon.